The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Full biography and untold life story. The boy who dreamed in Tupelo. On a cold January morning in 1935, in a humble two-room house in Tupelo, Mississippi, the world welcomed a child who would change music forever. His name was Elvis Aaron Presley. Born to Vernon and Gladys Presley, his arrival was marked by both joy and tragedy. Elvis was a twin, but his brother, Jesse Guerin, was stillborn. That loss would remain a shadow over his life, instilling in Elvis a sense of destiny, as though he carried not only his own dreams, but also those of the brother he never knew. The Presley family was poor, struggling through the harsh realities of the Great Depression. Vernon worked odd jobs, and Gladys devoted herself to raising her boy with fierce love and faith. Their tiny home was filled with gospel hymns, the radio crackling with country tunes, and the sounds of South rich with blues and spirituals. Elvis, wide-eyed and eager, absorbed it all. Gospel roots and a voice from heaven. As a child, Elvis was deeply connected to the church. Sundays meant attending services at the Assembly of God, where gospel choirs filled the room with passion and power. The boy would watch, mesmerized, as singers raised their voices to the heavens. Something stirred inside him. Music wasn't just entertainment. It was salvation, it was spirit, it was life itself. It was in these sacred spaces that Elvis first sang, his high voice carrying through the wooden walls of the church. Congregants noticed a boy with the unusual intensity, whose voice seemed older than his years. Gospel never left him. It remained a cornerstone of his artistry, even as fame and fortune carried him to unimaginable heights. The humble guitar and a shy boy. On his 11th birthday, Gladys bought her son a guitar. Elvis had wanted a bicycle, but the gift of 6 strings would prove far more important. He practiced tirelessly, though he was shy and unsure of his abilities. At school, Elvis stood out for his unusual style, slicking back his hair, wearing flashy clothes, and carrying himself with quiet confidence. He was often teased for being different, but inside, Elvis knew he was on a path others couldn't see. The sun that rose in Memphis. In 1948, the Presley family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. The city was alive with music, blues drifting from Beale Street, country twang on the radio, and rhythm and blues pulsing from clubs and bars. Elvis, now a teenager, soaked it all in. In 1953, with a nervous heart and a dream too big to hold back, Elvis walked into Sun Records to make a recording for his mother. Sam Phillips, the studio's owner, was searching for a white singer who could deliver the raw sound of black rhythm and blues to a mainstream audience. When Elvis began to sing, the room changed. His voice, smooth yet powerful, trembling with soul, was unlike anything anyone had ever heard. A year later, in 1954, lightning struck. Elvis, guitarist Scotty Moore, and bassist Bill Black began experimenting during a recording session. They stumbled onto a fast-paced version of Arthur Crudup's That's All Right. When Sam Phillips heard it, he knew history had just been made. The birth of rock and roll. By 1955, Elvis Presley was no longer just a boy from Memphis. He was the future of American music. His mix of country, blues, and gospel fused into something brand new. The energy, the swagger, the hips that shocked a generation. This was rock and roll, and Elvis was its king. His live performances were explosive. Girls screamed, fainted, and clawed at the stage. Parents and preachers called him dangerous, obscene, even sinful. But the more the establishment pushed back, the more the youth embraced him. Elvis embodied rebellion, desire, and freedom. By 1956, with Heartbreak Hotel climbing the charts, Elvis was unstoppable. Television appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show cemented his image. America was divided, half outraged, half enthralled, but no one could look away. Hollywood dreams and military duty. As the 1950s roared on, Elvis's fame reached a fever pitch. Hollywood called, and soon he was starring in films like Love Me Tender and Jailhouse Rock. The camera adored him, and Elvis's blend of music and film made him a cultural phenomenon. But just as he stood at the height of stardom, duty came knocking. In 1958, Elvis was drafted into the U.S. Army. Many feared his career would vanish, but the king's absence only heightened his mystique. Stationed in Germany, Elvis lived as a soldier, not a star. It was here he met a young girl named Priscilla Beaulieu, the woman who would later become his wife. Love, marriage, and a daughter named Lisa Marie. When Elvis returned to America in 1960, he was greeted with open arms. His music career reignited, his film career continued, and his personal life blossomed. In 1967, he married Priscilla, and the following year, they welcomed their only child, Lisa Marie Presley. Behind the glamour, though, cracks began to show. The demands of Hollywood left Elvis frustrated, stuck in formulaic movies that dulled his creative fire. He longed to return to the raw energy of live music, to reconnect with the audience that had once screamed his name. The '68 comeback, A King Reborn. In 1968, Elvis made his triumphant return with a television special simply known as the '68 Comeback Special. Clad in black leather, sweating under the lights, Elvis delivered one of the most electrifying performances of his career. He was raw, he was powerful, he was back. The special reignited his career, reminding the world why they had fallen in love with him in the first place. Elvis returned to live performances, beginning a legendary run in Las Vegas. Night after night, he filled showrooms with his voice, his charisma, and his undeniable magnetism. Vegas glory and the price of fame. The 1970s brought both triumph and turmoil. On stage, Elvis was untouchable, belting out hits, dazzling in rhinestone-studded jumpsuits, and commanding audiences with his sheer presence. Songs like Suspicious Minds and Burning Love kept him at the top of the charts. But off-stage, Elvis wrestled with exhaustion, loneliness, and dependency on prescription drugs. The pressures of fame weighed heavily, and his marriage to Priscilla ended in 1973. Though they remained close, the divorce marked a painful chapter in his personal life. Despite the struggles, Elvis remained devoted to his fans. He gave and gave, even when his body began to break down. His generosity was legendary. He gave away cars, houses, and jewelry to friends, strangers, and fans. To Elvis, joy was found in giving. The final curtain. On August 16, 1977, the world awoke to devastating news. Elvis Presley had died at Graceland, his beloved Memphis home. He was just 42 years old. The king was gone, but his voice, his spirit, and his legacy could never be silenced. Fans flooded Memphis, grieving as though they had lost a family member. For many, Elvis wasn't just a singer. He was a symbol of hope, rebellion, love, and change. The immortal king. Decades have passed, but Elvis Presley remains eternal. His music continues to inspire, his style continues to influence, and his story continues to captivate. From a boy in Tupelo with a cheap guitar to the king of rock and roll, Elvis lived a life larger than legend. He left us with more than songs. He left us with a dream that no matter where you come from, no matter how humble your beginnings, you can change the world with passion, faith, and a voice that refuses to be silenced. Elvis Presley was more than a man. He was, and forever will be, the king.